Who is John Galt? For those of you who haven't read Atlas Shrugged and don't read Ayn Rand, perhaps you need to. When the government takes over ownership of the means of production, it is the death of free market capitalism and personal economic freedom. And that, my friends, is what we're facing. The question is Alabama unknowingly implementing UN Agenda 21, 2030, 2050, and the World Economic Forum's agenda? Yeah. With these developmental initiatives, a nexus of bills was passed last year, dumped right in the middle of it. We didn't even know it was done until 3 out of the 7 were passed. By raising a banner, a big banner, on the lawn of the Capitol with Democrat, Republican leadership, bureaucrats, and the Business Council of Alabama joining in with them. Governor Ivey is all behind this, but they're not telling you where it came from, and today I'm going to tell you where it came from. The innovation workforce bills include far more than what is being discussed. So here we have, in case y'all don't know, free market capitalism. Everybody knows what that is. Socialism, fascism, and Marxism. Everybody knows what that is. But do you know what a corporatocracy is? It's when government and corporations own us. So back in 2012, with the help of Becky and a whole bunch of people in here, the Alabama legislature passed a bill prohibiting Agenda 21 and anything connected or arising out of Agenda 21 is illegal in the state of Alabama. Did y'all know that? Yeah. Well, some of you did because you were there. But we are totally ignoring that bill. We are totally ignoring that law. In 2011, Obama passed the Strategy for an American Innovation. And that word innovation is extremely important. Extremely important. This is 2011. In 2014, Obama signed Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It's an Obama bill that is being implemented in Alabama today. The World Economic Forum is one of the agendas that we are also implementing. Public-private partnerships is a World Economic Forum construct. The first public-private partnership in the state of Alabama is Innovate Alabama. This is not in your packet, but you can go online. It just takes too long to get through, but the PPPs are not good things. Public-private corporations or partners, public-private partnerships, corporations and government coming together in a business. So if you notice, this is from the World Economic Forum, and their big deal is innovation, innovate, social technology, business, ecosystem, and open innovation, and the other one is education. This is straight out of the UN, innovation districts as a geographic area where leading edge anchor institutions and companies cluster and connect with startups, business incubators, and accelerators. Districts are also physically compact, transit accessible, mixed use housing, office, and retail, 15-minute cities. I was driving in this morning. I'm going to take just a few seconds to tell you this. Mountain Brook, Homewood, and Jefferson County are about to redo Brookwood Mall into a mixed-use 15-minute city. Southtown in Birmingham, the UAB Southern Research and Development District, Innovative District that was passed basically on the last day by Jabba Wagner, is no longer Southside Birmingham, people. It is now called Southtown, 15-minute city. If you think it's not here, you're wrong. These are Alabama Workforce Innovation District. And most states have maybe one or two districts. Alabama was completely divided up into 7 districts. The entire state is an innovative district. It is not divided by the congressional districts. They are separated by economic sectors. I went online last night to try to pull up District 4, which is this area. There's nothing there to look at. But I do have one thing. Southern Research just came up with a free genetic testing clinical trial for our children and anybody who volunteers. They want to sequence the genes of our children, check their DNA for diseases that they may not be aware of, and then put them into clinical trials to try to figure out how we can cure those diseases. They want to play God. Now, I'm going to connect a dot here. This is Southern Research, UAB. Southern Research is on the cutting edge of AI. AI is building the biggest 8 data storage centers in the world, all across the United States. Everything that comes out of there will be stored in an AI data storage facility. I'm not going down that pathway today, but that was a dot that came up last week. This is the picture where they all gathered, and I want you to look at, we have Democrats, Republicans, that's the leadership, plus Helena Duncan, who is president of BCA, Business Council of Alabama, big business in Alabama. They control our legislature with money. This came out of the Alabama Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act plan and executive summary. This exact page is in Agenda 2030. Word for word, picture for picture in 2030, Agenda 2030. And this is the reason why we're doing it. There has never been a federal dollar that Alabama didn't love. A lot of what we have going on in Alabama, having these programs implemented which are totally against Alabama values, is because of the federal dollar. This is being paid for 100% by federal funds or private funds. This is our game plan, which our esteemed Lieutenant Governor calls his game plan. And if you look at the last one, encourage public-private partnerships between industry and the education system. So they have identified the reason people aren't working in Alabama. And they keep talking about our workforce participation rate's the lowest in the country. The national average is 62.5. Alabama's participation workforce rate is 57.7. We are a retirement state. We are a traditional state where one parent stays home with the children. We are a military state. And there are a lot of factors that go into determining our labor participation rate. And I think it's a red herring just so that they can do what they want to do. In this Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, they set up, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 7, there's 14 commissions right there. As Republicans, are we not supposed to be small government? Non-centralized, thank you, George. Love that word. These are 14. We have 7 districts, and all 7 districts have a board with up to 20, 30 people. There's Area 1's board. I want y'all to look at who's on there, and you probably have a hard time reading it. Let's see, Sneed State, Monsanto, Easter Seals, Alabama Career Center, TVA. These are the people telling us what we are going to be doing in these innovative districts. Here's the second part, the Alabama Growth Alliance. And by the way, I have a copy of every single one of these bills under the table that I'm sitting, if you don't believe what they say. And note at the top, Accelerate Alabama Steering Committee. Well, there's 5 more commissions, so now we have how many commissions so far and boards? So Accelerate Alabama is going to be called Catalyst. Well, there's Catalyst, Economic Development Partnership of Alabama, straight out of Agenda 2030. There's the matching pages, almost word for word. And they didn't ask the people who actually do the labor when they did this. So they Manufacture Alabama and all the big guys are the people who put this together. So we have the Alabama Innovation Corporation. And I'm going to go show you who's on it. Because like I said, we're going to fly over. Let's see, we have the government on top. And this is a PPP. This is a public-private partnership corporation. They do not answer to anybody but themselves. They don't answer to the government. They don't answer to the voters. So here are the 7 bills that Working for Alabama put out last session. And people keep asking me, how are they doing this if it's unconstitutional? And Anna the other night asked me, I gave the speech in Huntsville, and she said, where is the notwithstanding? Because I had taken it out. So I put it back in. Every single one of these bills has this word and this phrase, notwithstanding, despite, nevertheless, or however. Notwithstanding a particular fact or condition, it means that the statement being made will apply regardless of that fact or condition. What that means is they're going to do it whether it's unconstitutional or not. It is not in the Alabama Constitution. Our government cannot give money to private corporations or to anything that comes out of Agenda 21, 2030, or 2050. So here's the first one. This is not passed. This is the constitutional amendment.
Is it on this?
And this starts with the pages that you have on your table. I want you to note, this is a constitutional amendment to authorize the legislature by law to authorize county municipalities to provide for incorporations of innovation districts as public corporations and to provide for their powers and to exempt them from certain laws that you and I have to follow. And if you look on the other side, you can read public funds, revenues, property, services for the benefit of those innovation districts. and they are to provide public funds, revenues, or property of or under the control of the district for the benefit of the public or private person or entity. In other words, you're going to give the PPPs powers that the government has, but they don't answer to anybody. This did not pass, thank goodness, but be watching for it because it will come back. This is the Alabama Workforce Transformation Act, which implements Obama's Workforce and Innovation Opportunity Act. I just want to know why Alabama, implements an Obama bill. Money, follow the money. So this establishes another executive committee, but the big issue that we had with this one was it creates a parallel government answerable to Washington, D.C. and to the UN. This is the R&D, which was passed specifically for Birmingham, but now there are going to be others, I think. Mobile's going to try to do one. Huntsville probably already has one. So you're going to have authorized incorporation of research and development corridor within the corporate limits as a public corporation. Like I said, the Southtown, the 15-minute cities. The board members are not required to file a statement of economic interest. Eminent domain is not listed on this thing. So if you get the time, read them, because I don't have time to go through all of them. This one is combining all the offices of occupational and professional licenses. It's 504 pages long. Georgia's a year ahead of us on Innovate, and they did it, and it caused such chaos that a bunch of their companies were shut down because they couldn't get their licenses renewed. So Gudger has postponed this indefinitely. This is the Catalyst, which formalizes public partnerships. They make their own rules. They can do whatever they want to do. And the governor appoints 6 at-large members from the private sector. This is another one that was indefinitely postponed. It would exempt districts from fees and charges imposed by a judge of probate and from taxation. It exempted these districts from bid laws and state oversight, and it gives the local governments power to tax, and that's home rule that we've been fighting forever. This one, they figured out that housing, childcare, and transportation were the 3 main things that kept people from going to work. So they passed a housing tax credit. Employers can build, and they have to build multifamily, low-income multifamily that goes along with the rules of the Commerce Department as defined in the urban areas of low income. And they must include child care and after-school care in these low-income multifamily housing. And we are going to give them tax credits to do that. And it will either be an employer or a developer that can do this. This one is my favorite. The Workforce Pathways Act was passed to give a separate diploma. It takes off for kids from K through 12. It takes off 2 years of math and 2 years of science. It directs students from 14 to 18 to live in high schools to teach them a skill. It removes your child from your family, which is one of the 17, UN Sustainable goals to remove the children from the family. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't send my 14-year-old granddaughter to go live in Demopolis next to a hospital so she can be taught a skill. And my big problem is that you are separating families, and that's the goal. So if you've gotten roundabouts and if they've, especially in Birmingham, and they've made your driving lanes smaller, you are being traffic calmed. That's what they call it, traffic calmed. They've put in bicycles. They want you to slow down for the EVs, not to waste gas, not to be able to travel a distance, to restrict movement. Well, let me say this. We know something is wrong. And I can say this about the people in the room. Not everybody has the time nor the ability to understand the big picture. Most of us, or most of y'all, have your issues. I know Julia is with gambling, and you have your abortion and these terrible libraries. But we must understand and be able to connect the dots that there's one big push to redistribute wealth, take away our personal freedoms, and destroy America and our Constitution. And when we're gone, there's nothing left. So I want you to remember, innovate is the code word for control of the entire economy implemented on a bipartisan basis for federal dollars.